Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron. Excuse me. Glad you're here with us. We're looking at Jerome, the translator of the Vulgate, and his thoughts on the Septuagint, the supposed Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible given to us in a letter of Aristus about 275 BC in the reign of Ptolemy Philadelphus. So we're getting this from Will Kinney, brandpluck.com. I've done a few different videos on the Septuagint and how even modern scholarship is saying that it was not a unified 2nd, 3rd century BC document. So let's see this, Bill Kinney's wonderful scholarship. So Jerome originally thought the Greek translation Origen's hexapla, which Origen is admitted by all to be a heretic from every direction, but he was brilliant. I've read a lot of Origen in years past, was the inspired version, but later in life he came to believe that the Septuagint was not inspired, but instead it was the Hebrew text, which were the inspired words of God. And the King James translators go into this in the translators to the reader. So Jerome, who was a very good translator, then began to write several works on the supremacy of the Hebrew text over the various Greek translations. I like reading Jerome too. I found out that's where he did not really like the phraseology of then Trinitarianism, 3 hypostasis. He said that was Arian language. But if the Pope Damasus wanted him to believe it, he assumed he'd believe it. But he really didn't like it at all. He thought it was barbaric. And then also, he was like, I'd translate something, they took the pages from me. He said, I wanted to go back over it. So he's admitting that the Vulgate was not a great translation because he didn't have time to go back over it. So he says this: it would be tedious now to enumerate what great additions and omissions the Septuagint has made in all the passages. This is Jerome writing about the Septuagint, which in church copies are marked with daggers and asterisks, symbols indicating words present in the Greek but absent in the Hebrew and vice versa. The Jews generally laugh when they hear our version in this passage of Isaiah. Blessed is he who hath seed in Zion and servants in Jerusalem, Isaiah 31:9, and Amos also. But how shall we deal with the Hebrew originals, in which these passages and others like them are omitted passages so numerous that to reproduce them require books without number? And this is Jerome's letter 57. In Jerome's Latin Vulgate translation of 405 AD, he did not include the extra 6 verses of Psalm 14 found in the Septuagint. And it's Psalm 13 in the Septuagint in Latin. St. Jerome owes his place in the history of exegetical studies chiefly to his revisions and translations of the Bible. Until about 391, 392 AD, he considered the Septuagint translation to be inspired. But the progress of his Hebraic studies and his intercourse with the rabbis made him give up that idea, and he recognized as inspired the original text only. It was about this period he undertook a translation of the Old Testament from the Hebrew. And then that comes from newadvent.org, which, if I'm not mistaken, I've looked that up several times in years past, that is a Catholic online dictionary. So we can see even Jerome, who used to think Septuagint was inspired, then says no, and actually they were backdating things into the Septuagint from the already completed New Testament Christian text. So God bless you. Thanks for being here. Do pray for us daily if you don't mind. Check out all our other videos. Join us daily, and we'll see you later. Pray for our podcast also, Biblical Archaeology Today with Steve Waldron. See you later. Bye-bye.